Welcome back to World of Immersion. Today it's Cam, and we will be ranking the top 10 rides at Tokyo DisneySea, including Fantasy Springs. Now, I do want to start off this video by saying this is my second favorite theme park in the entire world, and I do love every single ride at this park, but unfortunately, there are some honorable mentions that won't make this list today, and this is probably the most incredibly themed park I've ever been to in the entire world. So with that, let's get started. For my first honorable mention, it will be Toy Story Mania, the shooter ride. Now, I do want to start off by saying this is probably the best shooter ride in the entire world. I love it at Disney's California Adventure, but the fact that this is an honorable mention is crazy for this park. And in terms of a shooter ride, this ride is pretty incredible. If you know me, I get pretty competitive, so this ride can be a lot of fun. It would make a lot of people's top 10, I would think, but for me, I don't prefer it to some of these other dark rides. And speaking of dark rides, another honorable mention is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Now, this is kind of like a unique suspended, like underwater dark ride. It's what Nemo should do at Disneyland, but we won't get into that because I don't like Nemo. But 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is pretty incredible. It's one of a kind. I think what sets it back is kind of like when you're looking out in the glass, like it's kind of hard to see like a lot of the animatronics and like the sets because you're in such like a awkward spot in the ride vehicle, but it just nearly missed the top 10. And coming in at number 10 will be Raging Spirits. Raging Spirits, this is the park's one of the only coasters in the park, and I thought this coaster was a lot of fun. It was pretty smooth when me and Nate did it, but the bad thing is the capacity is a little slow, so we kind of waited like 20-30 minutes for this ride, and I don't think it was worth that wait. But this coaster is a lot of fun. It does have a loop, which is pretty smooth, smoother than the one on Incredicoaster, which that loop needs to be replaced like immediately. But Raging Spirits is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it if you're going to Tokyo DisneySea. And coming in at number 9, we have Aquatopia. Now, this ride is incredible. We went during the summer when it was the Super Soak version, and we got absolutely drenched on this ride. It was kind of like a trackless water ride. It's right by the ocean, so the views are amazing. I think a lot more parks need rides like this because of how incredibly themed it is, and just being by the water side, it's just got great kinetic energy. Like it's just so much fun to look at and watch people like ride this ride because it's just such a pure fun ride. I think that if it's a great water ride to the park, and that's why it makes my number 9 spot over Raging Spirits, because I just prefer rides like this, and I think it's incredible to see it in the park. I hope it doesn't go one day because I heard it might be getting removed in the near future, so I would be pretty sad to see it go. And coming in at number 8, we have Soaring Fantastic Flight. Now, this is pretty similar to the one that we have in California. I didn't actually do it, but I heard the queue is pretty sick, a lot better than the one in DCA, but I mean, it's your typical flight simulator ride, but we didn't end up doing it just because it's a clone, but it is still an incredible ride. I love Soaring. I'm one of those people who will absolutely be higher on this ride than most people because of how it really transports you to like feeling like you're actually flying. And the sense, like the smells, like everything about this ride is just pretty incredible. So that's why it makes the 8 spot. And I know it's kind of low, but this park, with the addition of Fantasy Springs, it's pretty insane that this ride is only at number 8. And coming in at number 7, we're going to have Tower of Terror. Now, this is also low for this park, which is kind of insane, but I think this is probably the worst Tower of Terror I've been on. It is cool that it has its own original storyline. In the pre-show, there is a cool effect that I don't know how they do still, but it is still just an okay drop tower. The drop sequence is very short, and I just don't think it lives up to some of the other drop towers that we have here in the States. I think the one in California is pretty amazing. I'm really high on Mission Breakout, and the one in Disney World has some incredible theming. It also goes like forwards and then it drops, so I think this ride is just the worst out of the 3 total I've been on, so that's why it ranks at the number 7 spot. And coming in at number 6, we have Tangled. Now, this is one of the first of the Fantasy Springs dark rides, and this ride is pretty incredible. It's like bringing a modern day dark ride to life, and I just love Tangled. It's one of my favorite Disney movies, and I'm so happy they finally included it into a park because this ride is just incredible. It is a little short, but the animatronics are pretty crazy in the last scene. I love how you go around the iconic boat scene. You're all the boats literally surround it, and that room is just so visually stunning. But I think this ride is a pretty incredible like supporting ride to Fantasy Springs and to the park. I just think that this ride is what new companies should add to their park, like just a supporting dark ride, because it's just so amazing. I love boat rides. I love Tangled. I think they did this ride perfectly. Only complaint is that it is a little short, but that's okay. That's why I like it more than Tower of Terror. I'm more of a dark ride, boat ride. I prefer them more over like a drop tower, but that's why it ranks at number 6. And coming in at number 5, we have Sinbad Storybook Voyage. Now this ride is one of a kind. The animatronics are insane in this park. I think this ride is absolutely insane. This is also unique to Tokyo DisneySea. And this original storyline, I think it's just a long boat ride. And there's so much to look at. It's one of the most immersive boat rides I've ever been in. I think this ride just is incredible. It's longer than Tangled. That's why it ranks above it. And I just think it executes so well. Again, this park is just insane, and it's insane that this ride only ranks at 5 now with the addition of Fantasy Springs, but it's just one of the most incredibly immersive rides I've ever been on, and that's why it comes in at number 5. And at number 4, we have Indiana Jones. Now, this ride is kind of a clone of the one we have here in the States, but I do think this is the best version of that ride. It is a lot smoother than the other vehicles. The other vehicles kind of throw you and whip you around, but this one, it's like a lot smoother and it's darker. There's a darker theme. You're going through a lot more darkness, and the effects are way better in this ride. There's like this cool like tornado effect in the ride, and I think it looks sick. It has the same iconic like big showroom that Indiana Jones has. I think this ride is just an updated version of the one we have here in the States, and I think it's just a lot better than the one we have. But that's why it comes in at number 4. And at number 3, we have Journey to the Center of the Earth. Now, this ride is actually incredible. I think we did it 3 or 4 times, but like this ride is genuinely like insane. It's inside the park's icon, which is the volcano, and it utilizes the same ride system as Test Track and Cars, and I think it does it the best. Journey to the Center of the Earth is one of the most unique rides on the planet. You kind of start off in this like mine train thing, and you're kind of exploring like through this cave of all these creatures and this cool scenery, and then you see this giant animatronic that's absolutely insane. I didn't even know there was one when I went on the ride, so I was stunned. And then you kind of just take off through the darkness. As you're speeding through the darkness, there's like the small mini like airtime pop, and I think this ride is just absolutely incredible. The only flaw I have with it is that it is a little short, but I think I can overlook that with just how incredible the theming is in this ride and how stunning it is. And coming in at number 2 is Peter Pan. Now, this ride is absolutely amazing. I think me and Nate did it around 5 times because this ride is just one of the most re-rideable rides on the entire planet. It utilizes the same system as Transformers and Spider-Man, but I think it easily does it the best. The quality of the screens are absolutely amazing. I think the Peter Pan original Disney movie theme is perfect, and I think it encompasses that beautifully. There's like these scenes where you kind of like back up from a screen, and then like the buildings around you grow larger as you're backing up into another screen. I think it just has some of the best effects in the world. And the storyline, it goes through the basic of Peter Pan taking Wendy, fighting Captain Hook, and then returning back home. This ride is just truly one of a kind. Videos do not do it justice. This ride is incredibly immersive, and I think it's just one of the best rides on the entire planet. And the music also, the soundtrack is so good. I love the Peter Pan theme, and this ride just does it for me. And coming at number 1, this should be no surprise to anybody who's been on this ride, it's Frozen. Frozen is one of my favorite rides, if not my favorite dark ride of all time. Frozen is a modern day Pirates in my opinion. It utilizes the boat system to its full potential. You start off the ride by going through Anna and Elsa's story as a kid, and it utilizes projection mapping to its full potential. There's like 4 switch tracks in the entire ride, and the animatronics on this ride are absolutely incredible. If you've been on this ride or seen videos, like it gets rid of those projected faces in Florida, but like this ride is just insane. Like it's just a modern day boat ride, and I absolutely love it. It's a long ride too. Like it's a very long ride, and I think it just, the way it goes through the whole story of like the movie is just incredible, and it just tells the story so beautifully, and it doesn't have to like tell you like a lot of these other rides nowadays do. You kind of just like you're traveling through the story of the ride. So like I just think this ride is one of my favorites in the world, and the projection mapping that goes like across these buildings at the end is just absolutely stunning. I think this is one of the most perfect rides Disney has ever built, And props to the Disney Imagineering team on this one because they really blew it out the water with this one. But that is going to do it for our top 10 rides at Tokyo DisneySea today. Comment down below if you agree with this list, and we'll catch you on the next one.